What is up, guys? Welcome back to the garage. As you know, we are into 2024, the new year, but I can't stop talking about 2023. On the main podcast, look below. Make sure you subscribe to this channel or you follow the audio podcast if that is your preference, because next week we will actually be doing our top 5 movies of 2023 on the podcast with a special guest. Last month I counted down my top 5 horror movies, and now I'm going to give you my top 5 underrated or underappreciated movies from 2023. They are movies that are not really getting a ton of mentions this award season and are not showing up, frankly, on a lot of people's year-end list. Will any of these movies make my top 5 next week? I gotta be honest with you, I don't know. I haven't made that list yet. First up, of course, I'm gonna do some honorable mentions. Just a few. I'm just gonna list them real quick, tell you briefly what they're about and where you can find them. Influencer is a psychological horror thriller. Can social media and, frankly, your image be used against you? If this movie is any indication, the answer is a resounding yes. Let's go back to January, shall we? It's the wasteland for movie releases, right? How about Plane, starring Gerard Butler? This is a mindless popcorn action flick that was an absolute blast. There's not a lot of dialogue. There's not a lot of depth to any of these characters. It's just shit blowing up, him running away from people, guns, knives, just action-packed. And then the last honorable mention I just want to touch on real quick is a raunchy comedy called Joyride. Any movie that has Stephanie Hsu in it is for me. I absolutely love her. She's one of my queens. Ashley Park leads the charge here as our main character. Sherry Cola is the comic relief. This is an all-Asian group of women friends who get together, travel abroad, and it's got elements of like Superbad. It's got elements of those teen comedies that are just way too taboo, and it is so genuine and so funny. All right, guys, let's get into my top 5 movies that I feel like are underrated or underappreciated from 2023. I'm going to start out my countdown with my number 5, and it is a documentary. It's a film called Still, a Michael J. Fox movie. Now, truth be told, this has been mentioned a lot in award circuits for documentaries, including my own critics group that I'm a part of. But I just don't hear people as enamored with it as I would expect, because it is a tremendous, gut-wrenching story of Michael J. Fox's life and career, particularly after his diagnosis with Parkinson's disease. He had this meteoric rise to fame with movies like Teen Wolf, Back to the Future. How did he handle all of that fame while at the same time trying to hide this debilitating disease that, quite frankly, is not suited for the career path that he was on? If you are a fan of Michael J. Fox, if you grew up in the 80s, then it's a no-brainer that you have to see this. My son watched it. He's 10 years old. He wasn't even born when Michael J. Fox was at the height of his fame, and he loved this documentary too. It is so touching. Still a Michael J. Fox movie, which, by the way, you can stream for free right now on Apple TV+. All right, next up at my number 4 is a movie that you can currently catch on Hulu. It's called Rye Lane. It's a film starring newcomers Vivian Oprah and David Johnson, as this happenstance meetup on the London streets at an art show, and it becomes this romantic comedy with extreme depth and nuance to these characters. It is a character study kind of hidden within a romantic comedy. It was so fulfilling to see these characters come together throughout the course of this film, a little under 2 hours. The direction of the film by Rain Allen Miller, a newcomer, is truly inventive, and there's a lot of really beautiful shots in this film that it really makes the streets of London part of the story as well, which is something that some TV shows and movies can pull off. Rye Lane can now add itself to that list. All right, here's another one you can see for free if you have Netflix. It's currently streaming on Netflix. It is They Cloned Tyrone. This is a sci-fi thriller directed by Jewel Taylor, starring John Boyega, Jamie Foxx, Kiefer Sutherland, David Alan Grier. Yes, I'm reading off the call sheet. What a cast. This is a film that has elements of Get Out. It has elements of T2. There's a lot of really weird callbacks to science fiction built into this movie, but also it is a human story, and it's a story about finding ourselves and how we survive in what life has given us and the hand that we've been dealt. As I'm trying to keep all of these spoiler free, I definitely don't want to touch on They Cloned Tyrone too much, because part of my gigantic enjoyment of this film was how surprising it was and some of the plot twists along the way. John Boyega, as our lead here, Tyrone, turns in, honestly, one of top 2 or 3 performances of his career. Jamie Foxx is freaking hilarious in this movie. He is an absolute standout. Make sure you check out They Cloned Tyrone. All right, so this year, Miyazaki released The Boy and the Heron, and Sony Pictures had their next installment for Spider-Man with Across the Spider-Verse. Those 2 powerhouse juggernaut animated films are going to probably take every award under the sun, including the Academy Awards. People seem to be forgetting or do not know about another Japanese anime called Suzume. This is a film about a high school age girl who embarks on an adventure to stop this mysterious portal to another world from kind of engulfing her world. And in doing so, she charges this unexpected team up and relationship with a chair. Yes, an actual chair that you sit on. Film is beautifully animated. It's touching, it's funny, it's action-packed, it keeps you on the edge of your seat. It is a wondrous adventure that calls at your nostalgic, childlike heartstrings, but it sits right up there with some of the best movies of this year. And if any one of these films I'm mentioning tonight has a shot at cracking my overall top 5 of 2023, it's probably Suzume. If I wanted to have some animated representation in my list, it was my favorite animated film of 2023. And my number 1 movie that I feel like is underrated or underappreciated from 2023 is a pulse-pounding kind of political thriller, but not really, called How to Blow Up a Pipeline. This is a film that follows a group of college students and others that come together online and form this group kind of protesting against the pipeline that's being built through their various towns and cities and what they fear that's going to do to the environment and to the population and the communities. In my Letterboxd review, when I initially saw this film, I said that it takes the heist movie formula and infuses it with political thriller. That's the best way I can describe How to Blow Up a Pipeline. It creates such anxiety while you're watching it. It kind of reminded me of when I saw Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler. Very on the edge of your seat, anxious viewing, but what a payoff. And you get close to a lot of these characters in this movie. You don't find yourself falling on one side or the other of the political conversation that's kind of hidden within this movie, but more so about how their characters are going to come out on the other side. You can rent on demand How to Blow Up a Pipeline, but you can also stream it for free, currently on Hulu. That's my number 1 overlooked movie of 2023, an absolute standout film for me. There you have it, guys. Those are some underrated, underappreciated gems this past year that I feel like just not enough people are talking about, and I haven't seen them showing up on a lot of year-end lists. Will they be on mine? I don't know yet. I'm going to make that list. Make sure you subscribe so you can find out what our top 5 movies of 2023 are when that episode drops next week. What were some of your favorite or most underappreciated movies that you saw last year that you want to shout out that everybody should watch? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you guys out here next time in the garage.